Hi, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and it's February 21st, 2018. I'm here with Flosstube video number 4. I let a little more time pass between this video and the last one than I intended to, but I'm back now and I'm catching up. Since the last video, I have been just kind of slowly plodding away on a little girl's fancy. I tend with this project to either not want to stitch it on it at all, or I start stitching and I don't want to put it down. I'm having fun. I keep meaning to start a second project. I've got second projects I want to start, but I haven't got there yet. All my stitching time is going to this one. I think I mentioned in my previous videos that one of my themes for this year, if I had a theme, is stash diving. And I've gone through a lot of my cross-stitch stuff. I think I've dug most of it out, except for there's fabric. There's going to be stuff in boxes that I haven't unrooted yet, and that's fine. One of the things I got really motivated by was Christine at Stitch All the Things did some organizational charts and stuff, and I want to follow her plan. I haven't quite done it yet. One of the things I did do was go down to Costco and I went to Costco looking for the sheet protectors, but they had binders on sale, and I went through those patterns that I showed you in the last video, and I have got a lot of them organized in binders. So this is all of the Marty Bell and Thomas Kincaid. I've got another binder with the landscapes, and hopefully this will help me to find what I want to find when I want to find it. Another thing I did is, for the first time ever, I've got a project tracker for the month of February. The stars are the days that I start and finish a project, so this one is one of the shawls, and until I started it and finished it. The goal isn't to work on every project every day, it's to remember when I pick my stuff back up what I was working on, and it seems so far to be helping me keep from abandoning projects, which is one of my very bad habits. I'm homeschooling the kids, I'm a stay-at-home mom. It tends to be that all hell breaks loose way too often at my house, and we have just stupid random stuff happen, and then when I'm ready to settle back in and do what I was doing, I can't remember quite what I was doing. So I'm liking the chart. That's helping. One of my other stash diving projects, if you remember in the last video, I had a whole lot of partially kitted up projects with DMC. I pulled the DMC out of most of those projects. There are a few I left because I know I plan to start those soon. And I'm going through and I'm checking to see if I still have a complete set of DMC or what I need to fill in. I went to Joann's and got some of the cheap little boxes, and I printed a chart of the DMC colors. And just bit by bit, I am going through and bobbinating, and I figure if I wind 10 or so bobbins a day in a couple of months, I'll have the whole thing, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm making decent progress. One of the other things I mentioned in that last video was the blue shawl I was working on. I'm going through yarn stash that I had bought for projects that I'm now never, ever, ever going to make, and I'm making shawls this year. I finished the blue shawl and love the way it turned out. Let me insert a picture here so you can take a look at it. And then after I finished the blue shawl, I cast on for a pink shawl with some cotton yarn that I believe once upon a time was maybe going to be a tank top for my daughter. I don't know. It was from the Connecting Thread store when they still had one up in Vancouver, and it was a really good deal, and I bought it and brought it home and put it in my stash, and now it's a shawl. So that's 3 shawls so far this year out of my goal of 12, and I need to get another one cast on soon, but I haven't quite decided what it's going to be. The other thing I've been doing lately is I've been going to thrift stores. I don't know if you ever go to the thrift store with an absolutely insanely specific item that you're looking for. And I'm not talking about things like I need to find a big glass Mixmaster bowl to replace the one I broke on my daughter's mixer, because I know those are out there. Those are really super common, and I will find one if I have to buy a whole mixer to get it. Still probably cheaper than buying a new one on Amazon. So I have been, since I found it, saw it on Instagram, looking for Paula Vaughn's quilts for all seasons. I've checked all the used bookstores, I checked all the thrift stores. It took me about 3 weeks, and in at Goodwill, sitting nestled amongst the office supplies, I found myself a copy. I'm just tickled. Tickled, giddy, I don't know what the word for it is. I'm very happy. I do think that, what I pay, $6.99 is too much for a cross-stitch pamphlet from the thrift store, but considering it's out of print, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush and all that, so that's good. Also, on the same trip, across the store on the ledge where they put all the furniture, I saw a floor stand. Once upon a time I had a floor stand. I think it was taken apart and put into a box before we moved. So I may or may not already own a floor stand. But I saw this one at Goodwill. And it was $4.99, and it seems to have all the pieces, so that came home to live with me. I have talked about the fact that I'm stitching in kind of a time loop, and I'm using mostly patterns from when I started stitching 17, 18 years ago. I have, over the past year, also changed my time time warp a little bit, and started collecting vintage needlework kits from the thrift shop. I've found some really uncanny hauls of them lately. Last weekend I took the boys to an event down in Eugene, and on the way home they wanted to stop and grab Little Caesars for lunch, and Little Caesars is in the same parking lot as St. Vincent's, so I gave them money and sent them to order a pizza, and I went to see maybe if they had any craft stuff. And the first thing I saw in their craft section was a glimpse of needlepoint canvas. And I don't know how excited I am about unicorns, but these old kits that are from around about the time I was born, I actually think this one's from about when I was 10 years old. If you find them and they're sealed and they're dirt cheap, it's now or never. I'm not going to find it again, so it came home with me. Then I dug through the rest of their kits, and oh my gosh, guys. Can you see this little girl preening herself in the mirror? And there is, according to the information down here, actually a little mirror to stitch in with the kit. And oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Then they have the little girl with the butter churn. I don't quite know what is going on in my own head sometimes. I love farmhouse butter churn, that kind of stuff. And for some reason, these Crewel kits from usually about around the year I was born have just captured my imagination. And we've got the little girl saying her prayers by her bed, and look at her braid, and look at that quilt, and look at that four-poster bed. And are you starting to see why I bought these? And there is a tree. There is a basket of fruit and flowers. I'm not quite as in love with this one as the rest. There is this one. When I was growing up, our kitchen was harvest gold. So something about that harvest gold irrationally calls to me. And dandelions. Shoutouts. I have been watching Ivy House Crafter. She's a homeschooling mom, and she is stitching her own drawing into a cross-stitch pattern that she's had converted, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I'll link to that video down below in the description. She also has a thread book that is this intricately folded paper thing that just has to be seen. I've also been binging stitching Jules, and she has a really good video on setting up for large projects, so I will link to that too. And I think that was all I had to talk to you about this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in another week or two.